up, but it's 11 o'clock Central Time. Um, and So there were some things that popped up on X today about Q, and about how I'll take you to it. I'll take you to it. That's probably the best way to do it rather than try to explain it. And I'll do that. Let me see. Okay. And I think I truthed it. Let me see. Um, Everybody over on Twitter. Um, but before I go there, I'm going to just recapping on you know President Trump was shot on the eve of July July 13th. He was shot, but on the eve of the Q Delta of well, let me pull it up for you. Here we go. So it's the Q Delta of a week to remember, which is 3434, which I was just talking about 34, which is, Q clearance patriot. So whenever you have double numbers, you not only have double meaning, but sometimes triple meaning on some of these things. So that was July 14th. Okay. And then let me take you to Q Clarence Patriot. I've read this a couple times this past week, so I'm not going to read it tonight, but I welcome you to go to qalerts.app or qag.news and go to number 34, which you have to use one number sign on Q Alerts and two on QAG. Q Clarence Patriot, my fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. Okay, so I want to be clear about something. July 14th, Delta, it said a week to remember. Is this a week to remember, would you say? Anything going on that we should know about? And it's 3434 is the post number, which takes us to 34. Because it's so important. And then that's Q Clarence Patriot. And what's happening on POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11/3 upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta. I mentioned him just a moment ago. Actionable 11/4. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots, I'm going to read this anyway. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. We will be initiating the Emergency Broadcast System, EMS, during this time in an effort to provide a direct message, avoiding the fake news to all citizens. Organizations and or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over the week to remember quickly, and then but if you're impatient, just please know I'm going to get into a few predictions of Q and Ingersoll that are mathematically impossible. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I'm going to either share the links or I'm going to show you some of the video that I did with those predictions. Okay. Um, this isn't any kind of this. Okay. I predicted what was going to happen in January of 2020. I predicted that in May of 2019, live on air on Facebook Live. It's documented because of what I was experiencing, because of I was tracking what was going on and how they were doing things. I was just paying attention. And I've paid attention, and as soon as it hit, everybody knew we were already on it. We already knew what they were going to do after that, that the thing they were going to follow up with was actually more deadly, which I had already talked about. So, and then with this Ingersoll stuff and the Q stuff, that's Q doing all that. And me just paying attention like so many Anons do. But I carried that from Q over into Ingersoll Lockwood, and there were more predictions that were dead on that you need to know about, because I think it's really important to understand what's going down here is significant. It is very, very, very significant. We just read Q Clarence Patriot of how this is going to go down. Over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we're taking back our great country. Are you feeling that? Because I'm feeling that. I mean, my episode 2 nights ago, and was again, what was that? That was the, oh, where's Joe? Capitol Fence, Flag Half Mast, Cheadle, Q Delta, Live with DavidSned. But what do you call it? The thumbnail was a Q Delta for that day. And I'll pull that up for you. It is just, my friends, this is the reason why I want you to know about this stuff is not because I want you to do nothing. It is because I want you engaged, just like Q wanted us all engaged. This wasn't about sitting back and eating popcorn. Q said enjoy the show 100 times, but only once did Q say sit back and enjoy the show. And there were multiple posts about only at the precipice will people engage and get involved and look at the revolution that this Q started and recognize where we're at right now. Because for those of us who have been awake a long time, there were a lot of times when we thought we may never see the kind of things that we're seeing right now. That's why this is so important. That's why this conversation is so important. That's why people need to hear this, is because we've come a long way and we are there. And Q, and I'll tell you another thing, Q said, and I say this a lot, but it's so very important. So bear with me. Q said military. I'm sorry, the only way is military. Okay. Q said that once. 20 times Q said transparency, accountability, and justice. are the only way 20 times. Do you understand the difference in the importance there? Because we can't do the military unless we have the transparency and the accountability. We need that's why I picked up the mic. That's why I started well, the real reason I started doing this was getting back to what I was saying earlier is I didn't want others to go through that very lonely, depressing time that I went through alone. And so I started doing this and started walking, talking on the beach and eventually coming into a studio and sharing screens and things. And I've had multiple studios. Just I'm talking about places in my home, um, and even when I didn't have one, I would come to you. But that was my real motivation. But what I'm wanting to people to understand now is that we're engaged with this process. We are engaged with this revolution. And Q dropped just 2 days ago, never interfere with an enemy in the process of destroying himself. Napoleon Bonaparte. What is happening to the Democrat Party? They're destroying themselves. They're destroying each other. Do you think this would be happening if they weren't on the ropes? Folks, you and I could walk in to a basketball game and I'll never see the scoreboard and I can tell you where we are in the game and I can tell you who's winning just by watching them play. If it's late in the game and one team is acting just cheating, tripping, fouling, they're behind. They're losing. The guys that are walking around high-fiving each other, picking each other up, bumping fists, helping each other up, screening for each I mean, I can see who's winning and who's losing, and I can tell which part of the game it is. Folks, what we're seeing isn't something that you would see in the first quarter of a basketball game. It's not something you would see in the second quarter, talking high school and NBA, third quarter, or the end of the fourth quarter or the end of the second half. This is the actions of a late in the game. What we're seeing are Hail Mary passes. What we're seeing are trick plays, and what we're seeing are cheap shots and fouls. And I mean, folks, they're desperate. And whether or not this is the work of the white hats, having them fulfill a script, or some of them, or most of them, or whether it is the black hats truly clinging on for dear life, the result, what we are witnessing, is exactly the same, is exactly what we need to be seeing. And so we are at a place in time where, all things look like, well, just going back to the week, the assassination, the post of, a week to remember. Trump moves up his pick for vice president, J.D. Vance. That vice president is chosen. Sheila Jackson Lee dies of cancer, who is tied in with the Clintons and the Haiti and wore a pedophile ring and gave an envelope to Christine Blasey Ford's lawyer in a very, very incognito way in the courtroom. And just, so many things. And she's gone. And then Joe announces he's not going to run after doubling down and saying he was. and everybody else. And then he disappears. And Kamala gets on the phone and gets $81 million in a couple of days, and like Joe got 81 million votes, right? Through a money laundering scheme through Act Blue. I mean, and look at all this. Look at what's happening. And then Joe, they have a fake AI call from Joe into Kamala's. I mean, this is all theater, folks. And if it's the black hats, wow, you guys are really desperate. And if it's the white hats, well done, because people are waking the hell up. They're dropping their ego because they don't have a choice anymore. The economy, the border, the rapes, the murders, the people getting let out on out of jail and not seeing justice, and gender affirming care for children, and missing children, and it's just, I mean, it's heightened at every single level. I could go on and on. Businesses failing, states, becoming tyrannical. I'm in Texas because I couldn't stay in California because of medical tyranny. They were going to tell me what I had to put in my body and what I had to put in the body of my child. That's medical tyranny. That's Nuremberg stuff. That is stuff that we swore off a long time ago. And yet we're allowing the people that have gotten back in to power, we're allowing them to be manipulated by the money, by the people that are literally, and have been since for generations of their families, are about controlling the population through wars, genocide, starvation, poor health, chaos, creation of chaos in the society, people killing each other, no justice. We're seeing it all. This is how you implode a species. This is how you enslave a species and control them. You can't let them get to be too many people, so you got to cut it down. Look at the Georgia Guidestones. Those were exploded and taken down. 500 million optimal number of people on the planet. That's gone. Look at the Deagle website that predicted just an extinction of humanity on major percentages. Look what they did with the CV. Look at how many they killed and how many they've sterilized and killed with the solution. These people are absolute psychopaths. And we're letting them direct us. And not only that, but we're financing this. Everyone's still paying income tax. Everyone's still buying from Amazon. Everybody's still got Netflix and Prime and Apple TV and Disney TV and going to Disney World and going on cruises and they keep pumping our money into these people, paying for electricity. These lights you see are not free. There you go. Help me keep the lights on. Tip your waiter. Am I delivering you something of value? If so, feel free to tip, like we do as civilized human beings. My friends, this is what we're seeing is unparalleled in human history. And what I wanted to bring to you tonight was kind of a vibe of this whole week and what's happening and how absolutely crazy it is and making sense of it. The things that are happening now, the biggest lesson I believe that we can take away from this is the things that are happening now, we must understand have happened before. And when you have the similarities of assassinations and the the role of Secret Service. Let me take you to my ex. Um, I'm going to here's Wyatt, who's austere Wyatt. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong one, I think. In case, wait a minute, what happened? Okay. In case anyone here wasn't aware, legendary conspiracy buff Bill Cooper said that the Secret Service agent in the car who is who shot JFK. Now, I want to stop right there because Bill Cooper, I revere the man. He was a huge part of my awakening, and I will tell you, this is the only point that I ever found that he was wrong on. The JFK assassination was the only thing Bill Cooper was wrong about. Sun's reflection made it look like the driver reached over his shoulder and shot. Also, the angle of JFK's head moving back to the left does not grok with the angle from the driver. And when you look really closely on the Zapruder and you slow it down, you can see it's a flash of light and that you really don't see his hand move across his body. His head went back to the left. That wouldn't have been from this angle. Shot came from grassy knoll, thus all the later suspicious deaths of witnesses who were there. However, CIA and Secret Service conspired on that assassination, and why its other points are spot on, which I'll go to now. Now, I also wanted to say that was that JFK Jr. I'm sorry, JFK in the back of that Lincoln, because Jackie said that's not Jack when she saw the body. She's, there's the coroner's report, the Warren Commission. It was all like out of control. And who started Q? We don't know, but could it be? We'd like to think it's maybe JFK involved or the people avenging his death, like his son, because, we'd like to see justice. That's what humanity is all about. RFK Jr. says that his father's Secret Service bodyguard is who shot him, not Sirhan. I've heard that confirmed. Now it's evident that Secret Service was behind the Trump assassination. I hate that Trump had to come so close to dying, but this is going to be massive, and the Secret Service is going to be completely exposed. It's no longer a secret that they serve someone else. That is Austere Wyatt 1. 2 R's, 2 T's, and he is. I really like his take on things. If you follow him, let him know I sent you, please. So what I was getting at is the things that we're seeing happen. We have to understand that this has happened. We've been here before, so we can't act surprised that these things are going down. Just find ways to link them to the past, because we need to learn from what's happening now, but we need to understand that this has been happening for quite some time. That information is very important to understand if we are to truly get these weeds out by the roots. because if we just trim them and we just cut off the tops, they'll regrow and they'll grow stronger and bigger and badder. We need to get to the roots of our enslavement and understand this part of it, because the things we're seeing, they've been doing them to us all along. All along. You know, this is a time in human history that I think a lot of people will one day wish that they were alive for. Think about that. Or people that we've lost, um, and how they wish that they were still alive to see this. But we've got to be a part of it. We don't want to be bystanders. We want to be able to say, I did this or I did that, or I supported this person, or I helped out my friend, or you know, I focused on my family and made sure that we were safe and helped our neighbor, or, you know, the revolution, my friends, is here, and it beckons you. It beckons us all. You know, Q told us that, and I'll go back to that basketball analogy that I used the other night. At the end of the game, when you're trying to win the game and you're down and you've got the ball and you call a timeout to run the play, you know who is in that huddle is not the cheerleaders, is not the scorekeeper, is not the your family. Even though all those people want to see you win, they're not in the huddle. The only people that are in the huddle are the people necessary for that play, for that job to finish this game. And we're the only ones in the huddle. And what Q has done is allowed us in the huddle, but couldn't tell us the play directly. And given the amount of predictions that Q made on the boards, the Twitter takedown, be careful who you follow, no outside comms, the tenets of who you should follow and who you shouldn't have been there all along. And I have followed those. And one of those is beware those who profit. And if you know my story, you know that has not been the case. And but this is also, we must take a step back into communism, my friends, because communism does not work. And getting value for nothing also does not work energetically in the flow of this amazing, interaction that we're having. So the key is the map is Q. The stone is Trump and patriots. Not even anons, like patriots, like flat out said patriots. And here it is. Key unlocks the door of all doors, information. Stone, the force strength capable of yielding power to act on info. Key plus stone equals military intelligence, no such agency. Key, POTUS and Patriots, stone. This is because Q says find the keystone. We are the stone. We are part of the keystone of this revolution. POTUS and Patriots equals stone. Okay. We are necessary. That's why we have been allowed into the huddle. So let me tell you about the huddle. For those who follow Q, you're already aware of the predictions that Q has made and the information that Q has shared. And when I say that, what I mean is that I don't have to go through all those proofs of, the Twitter, the communication between POTUS and Q, and and the information that led us to other places, that led us to understand what was going on. Q was out ahead saying, come over here and look at this and ask around about these people. And we would do that. And then it would open up a whole can of worms of understanding why we are here and why the deep state was doing the things they were doing. So, but the problem is, and this is why Q said, be careful who you follow, no outside comms, beware those um, who say they're a part of Q. Operators never divulge. That's a Q drop. Operators never divulge. And you got people out there pretending like they have inside information about what's going on. Those are the fake anons, and those are the people that got your hopes up about particular dates and particular timetables. And then when those things didn't happen, you got discouraged. And the worst thing that could ever happen to a team, a military, a revolution, the worst thing that could ever enter into any of those things is discouragement, which weakens us and makes us feel less than and makes us feel like we don't have a handle on things. But we have handed over our minds to these fake anons, to these clowns that have given us these dates because they know that if you think that they know what's going to happen, then you're going to tune into them. Do you see how they use the same tactics as the mainstream media to capture your attention? I have never had a secret source. I have that can't be verified because it's top secret. I've never had inside intel. I've never had information that you couldn't find out for yourself one way or another. The predictions I did I did make were either revolving around the jab and the CV, or were because of Q and Ingersoll Lockwood, and one other time predicting the but that's another thing. But it's not necessary. But I'm 2 for 2 outside of Q. This I'll get to that later. But so you got discouraged, and that has made the awakening take longer. And many of those people that were doing that knew exactly what they were doing. And so they did because it worked, because many of you are done with Q, because none of the dates, all the dates came to pass and go. Q only gave us one date ever in 4,966 drops, two two drops, the 0 and the 1, and it was about Hillary Clinton's indictment. And that's it. But that sparked the revolution because we were like, wait a minute, somebody's talking about Hillary with all the information that we already know, but is saying that there's going to be justice finally. And it sounds like it's a military op or somebody that knows what's going on because of the information that followed. We were all very, very inspired and excited, and it spawned an entire revolution. But it's important to understand how many people have abused that and have used pieces of Q to their benefit to pad their pockets, stroke their egos, and but not providing a real service because of the parts that aren't true are the same amount of parts that the mainstream media told us that were true and false. Think about it. The reason why we trust the mainstream media is because they come on and they tell you what happened in your town that day, and you know what happened because people are already talking about it, or you heard it on the scanner. And they tell you, you know, that it rained last night, which you can verify. They tell you your team won or lost, which you can verify because you watched the game or went to the game. All these things that they tell you, the president had a press conference today, that all these things that they tell you are true, 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 true. It's like when you're in sales. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Great. Are you, is now a good time to, for a real quick minute? Yes, yes, yes. And you get the person saying yes, 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 yes. So for when you finally ask for the sale, you've conditioned them to say yes. This is a sales technique that has been taught for decades upon decades, going back to the IBM days, sales training days. Tom Watson. This is what they do. The mainstream media does. So they also talk to you about things that you care about. And so this is what's happened with the alternative media. But then you find out where they stand on this or Israel, and then you find out where they stand on whatever topic that is a deal breaker for you. Some people went with DeSantis. We saw who they were. Some people said, Israel's not doing anything wrong. We saw who those people were. That's important. But look at all the other things that they told us that were true. They're going up against the deep state, but then they tell you get the jab. I can't follow those people anymore. But sometimes it took us that long to find out. And so we're finding out. And so that's done a lot of damage in this movement. And I don't get time for that anymore. And we don't have time for the people that are butthurt and discouraged and bummed because it's taken so long. And I'm sorry, guys, but get in line. You know how so many people, I've been awake 18 years. I got friends that have been awake, 10, 20 years longer than that. That's how long they were waiting on my ass. How long I've been waiting on yours. How long you been waiting on your neighbors. we all come to the realization one way or another, and some of us are still completely indoctrinated on other aspects of our life. You got to challenge everything that we've been told. Just because they wrote it down doesn't mean it's true. Look at the the National Enquirer, look at the New York Times, look at the Wall Street Journal, the LA Times, Sun Times. I mean, Newsweek. This is now we realize the written how cheaply laid the written word has been to humanity and the damage that it's done. And so here we are. I got to go to my Rumble channel, which is the indoctrination on Rumble. And thank you for those of you who are doing Rumble rants. It's not a lot of you, but so here's Rumble. Okay, here's us right here. Okay, actually, this is us right here. We got 650 on Rumble, and we've got 1088 on the other channels. So welcome one and all. Did we get YouTube going? Oh yeah. So Hawks Mustard Seeds 25. We got 197 on that. So folks, I'm sorry you missed the beginning of the show there. I thought I had clicked that channel because Hawk lets me go on his Facebook and his YouTube, but I missed it. So my apologies that you missed the beginning. But you can find that on Rumble or on X. And Rumble's easy, folks. Rumble.com, and then just search the indoctrination of space. So this is us, okay? This is my all my shows. So I got to go back and I got to share a couple videos with you. And what I'm going to tell you now, okay, is that there's a website for those of you who don't know. Most of you do, but there's a website called IngersollLockwood.com, okay, and it's got 3 L's in it. All right, I've got to find this. Here it is. It's got 3 L's in it. All right, and I'm going to go there now just to get you a taste of this, okay? And here it is, and you go down. It says some things, and it says we don't support Q. We don't believe in the QAnon conspiracy, which is a double negative. It's like the QAnon. Nobody says that if you know what you're talking about, and they don't believe in the conspiracy because it's not. It's not a conspiracy. It actually is an operation. So, but then you go down. So there's a bunch of things in this that are kind of secret doorways. And so you want to go to dark mode. Now, for those of you who already know this, please bear with us because I'm trying to bring somebody along that hasn't done this before. So, don't be a dick and like not be patient for the person that hasn't experienced it yet, because that's how we bring people along. So all of these things will take you to a different link. Like this takes you to the U.S. debt clock. Now you see there's nothing there, but that's because I have dark mode on. If you take dark mode off, you can see the debt clock. Okay, and you can see the dollar to gold ratio. You can see dollar to silver ratio. Those things have been changing lately. This used to be, I can't remember what this was. Do you guys remember? If you would put it in the comments. But this used to be much lower. I think 131 per ounce for the silver. I think it even was lower than that. Now it's 259. So some of these numbers are changing. But Ingersoll Lockwood takes us to that because Ingersoll knows how important this all is right now because we're changing the monetary system. So you see all this. So you even got a point there. You can go to that, and that'll take you to the Hope Accord. which is they're calling for the suspension of this. I can't say it because of Hawk's channels right now. By the way, there's 1111 right now. Make a wish, everybody. 1111 for better days. For better days, which I know are coming, but we have to see it before it comes. We have to at least envision that. Um, it takes you to Bible verse. Like here's Matthew 18:6, um, which I've already looked up. And let me see. If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. This is, by the way, Q said crimes against children will unite all humanity. Look at how many times we've been shown unite. And I was taken there 2 nights ago, by the way, on a dive, and it was unite. And I was already talking about what was going to bring us all together because Q told us that. Okay. So some of you already know this. So Neo Wake Up, that takes you to, what's this take me to? I can't remember. Mega Pill. It takes you to all the amazing things that Donald Trump did in his first term. This is one of the greatest websites of all time to give somebody that is not on board with Trump. And each one of these things, okay, let's see, signs law aimed at cutting abortion funding so that you and I and this one nation under God are not funding somebody else's poor lifestyle choice. And the source, it takes you to the source. Thursday aimed at cutting off federal funding to Planned Parenthood and other groups that perform abortions, a move cheered by conservatives who have clamored to impose curbs on reproductive rights. So that's an example, but it's not very good because it's not taken me to, I wonder if it's because of dark mode. Let me try that again. Let me see if it gives us anything differently. No, not really. So that's an example, right? But most of them, it'll take you to a news article. And so it actually has the receipts tied in with this, and it's called magapill.com, magapill.com. My computer is either running really slowly or that website. U.S. consumer confidence is a 17-year high. This was, during his presidency, obviously. Okay, so you get the idea, right? And I'm gonna play a couple of these for you. But before I do, I'm gonna probably end the night with those because I want to show you the what this website has told me. Okay, and I'll tell you first, but then I'll show you. Let's see. I gotta go back a little bit here. Let's see. Okay. So let me show you this first. Okay. And again, I'm not going to show you all of this, but I might move on. Let me see. Okay. Let me see where I begin this. So basically, folks, I'm going to drop the, this is probably, I could go back to a better one than that. Let me see. Let me find, by the way, I threw this together, folks. That's why it's not ready for you. So my apologies, but talk amongst yourselves. This gets into my prediction about CV. This was the actual video, but in this video, I started out without sound. So fast forward through that. And then I fixed the problem. Let me see. Um, Everything was foretold. Proof with Q. Here's one that's a proof. I can't remember exactly which one. Um, uh, Super Bowl decode, House of Cards. I did a decode of that interview with Tucker Carlson and what's his name, Kevin Spacey. Um, Let me see. A lot of great content here, folks. Meditation in the morning, just a brief sunrise. Um, okay, here it is. Okay, I think this would be a good one. Um, okay, okay. All right, this one. Let me show you this. Um, but I think I did it in this one. So let me go to when I did it with Hawk and I shared it. So basically, um, let me see if I can find it here. Um, okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to play some of this for you because it's okay. This is going to be okay. Here we go. I think this has got everything in it. So if you want to see, there are three major predictions. Okay, this was we're talking about this particular one. I'm going to share with you is about because I can't even show it to you. Otherwise, I'll lose Hawk's channels. But let's say you see what's at the bottom here. Okay. And I'll walk you through it. What's at the bottom here is Snedeker prolific decode of disease X. Now, let me drop that in the chat here. So this is the you'll see it come up as Hawk's mustard seeds here down below. Okay. Hawk's mustard seeds 25. So look down at the and in your chat on YouTube, and it should be on everyone's chat, I think. But it's that's the link. I need to put it on. I'll put it in the messages too on Rumble. So that's the indoctrination on Rumble. If you see that message coming up, that will link you to this show that I did with Hawk, going back over these predictions that I did in real time. And why is that doing that? Oh, because we're here. I'm on this page. Okay. Um, by the way, thank you guys. If you want to do a Rumble rant, that's down here, this $sign. I just started doing those the other night. I didn't know how to do them. And hit the bell notification up here if you would, so you know when I go live. If this appeals to you. If not, don't. But I don't have to tell you that. So there were images. Okay. This was in January. This is an important one. But there's another important one. So this is the image, okay? And I'm showing these gentlemen on Nino Rodriguez's show, Mike King and Ron Partain. And I pulled this up to show them this was the image on this website, okay? And let me get that out of the way. And basically, here's what I saw, okay? I saw an X here. I saw this broken sworded samurai. I decoded that. The white swan, black swan. I talked about the difference between those two. Where have we seen this before? But it's a different color now. It's yellow. Here's a young boy with a school backpack on, but with a full on mask on. Okay. Let me see if I can go in a little closer for you. Like you're talking. No, I can't. They don't really know what to do, but they do know. So I just don't want to let anything slip here. So this is a storm, obviously. The port in a storm, but looks unsafe as well. And this boy with the mask, this is the symbol for the WHO. So I basically decoded it to mean we've got another virus coming. It's going to go after the children, okay, that are back to school, okay. We got a black swan event and a white swan event squaring off. We got kind of an X here with the sands of time. We got the storm and the lightning. So, but we also have in the address bar, it says 11724 WHO Davos. Okay. And so what I said to them, and right before that, by the way, DISEASE, disease, and then with the big X. And so this was on the 16th of January, this interview. And I told these gentlemen and a very large audience that the next day there was going to be an announcement by Tedros regarding this disease, and which they've been talking about since 2018. Like they first talked about it in 2018, but it hasn't been of topic. But I said he's going to make an announcement about it on then, and he did on the next day. He did exactly what I said that he was going to do. And because what he was doing was he was pushing this because they needed to get everybody on board to hand over our sovereignty, our medical sovereignty to the WHO. So that happened, right? Everybody was like, wow, how did you call that? How did you know? How did you know? It's like, well, guys, look what they're showing us here. I mean, they're showing us plain as day. They're using picture books now. Q never used a picture book, you know. Q would use pictures, you know, but never used a picture book here, like a children's book. And then it's up in the address bar. So how did they know that was going to happen? Well, maybe they had the itinerary and they knew he was going to speak, and they knew somehow he was going to talk about disease X. I think they actually had it on the schedule that that's what it was going to be. So not a big prediction, honestly. This isn't the best one I did here, by the way, or Ingersoll did either. Okay, so that's not a big one. But the next address is 3/31/24. That's 2 months later, 2.5 months later, at the end of March. So I said something significant is going to happen on that date regarding this particular disease. Well, so April 1st, 31st was a Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to find it. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. And it's the CDC website. I pulled up on April 1st. Update: human infection with highly pathogenic avian influenza, that's the HN1 virus in Texas. And basically, it had jumped from either a cow, it was a cow to human spread. It was a cow to human spread. This was actually the original article was the first. It says April 5th. The original article it says on April 1st, 2024, Texas reported a human infection with highly pathogenic avian. You see that? So it wasn't in that article because they updated it on the 5th. But this was the original date. And it had happened over the weekend, the 31st. They reported it on the 1st. So how did Q, which by the way, I've also linked Ingersoll with Q through many things too, and I can show you a few things, but how did they know? Whoever it was who put that in the address bar, the date he was going to mention it, and the date that it was going to jump from cow to human, just like the other one jumped from bat to human, right? That's all, we know that's all bullshit now. So they knew when they were going to do this. And if you can predict the date of when it's going to happen, you've either already been into the future and seen that, or looking into the future through Looking Glass, or that it's all manufactured and that they're going to do the exact same thing they did with the other one, because we have another election and we have the need for another kind of thing. And so they either went into the future and saw it, knew their schedule on when they were going to announce certain levels of certain tiers of the PLAN demic, or they're creating it themselves. But if they're creating it themselves, normally, if it's the deep state, and they are, but I mean, if it's the white hats doing it, I don't buy that necessarily, because they don't give us exact dates like that, like they did. But they have given us times when somebody else would do something. So if that makes sense, I'm sorry if it's a little off. 1,210 people across the board, plus another 657, 8 in Rumble. Welcome, one and all. I'm David Snedeker. This is the indoctrination. I just decided at the last minute tonight. I was not feeling well yesterday and getting caught up today, and really feeling bad yesterday. I think I got a Kamala headache. Just the sheer idiocy of this whole thing. I mean, we are in what's that movie called, Idiocracy? I mean, Kamala, really? Wow. Like, not that they would do that, but that people would buy into it. So it was a Kamala headache yesterday. I think I'm gonna put it on that. But I wanted to come tonight because I had some of these things I wanted to share. So that was so how did they know? So I got to think that, but also it shows legitimacy um, to this um, website, that this website is legitimate. Okay. And so that was just on that. Now I've got another one that's going to knock your socks off. Um, and I think I have to go with this. There's some sound issues on this, but it's still good. And this is one. Okay, so this was. Figure out, I mean, honestly, I think this. But what we. Okay. But so some of these people that put these videos together, hats off to them. But what we're getting, we're all like decoding, like the Anons back in the day. There's a bunch of us that are decoding these kind of. The title of this, by the way, is SpaceX Punctured the Firmament, and I'll prove it. Now, if you're not a firmament person, I would ask you to read Genesis and also look at the following movie. I'm going to take off dark mode now. This, every time I come up on this, is not a spinning. I've got to retype almost the whole thing. 200 proofs the Earth is not a spinning ball. Look, and you're going to get that, but you got to go with it. 200 proofs the Earth is not a spinning ball. If you have not seen this before, and you have not done research or have done research into flat Earth versus globe Earth, do yourself a favor. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me and what I think about it. I'm giving you a very, very good source for you to begin that journey or end that journey because um, it's massive. I'm just going to tell you that it's freaking massive. I'm putting this in the Rumble chat as well under the indoctrination. So copy and paste that for yourself. And I'm also putting in this one that I did with Nino Rodriguez, which is let me get that to the chat over here. Okay, and it's there. Okay, so you have both links in the chats. You should have access to those. Okay, so let me take you back to this one, and I'm going to let this play a little bit. I'm going to take a little break and let you listen to this. But this, I'm telling you, folks, this is, I believe, one of the most important interviews I've ever done. And I know it blew David's socks off, and it blew mine off as well. And I give all credit to Q and Ingersoll Lockwood, which gave us these images and this code of this. I'm sorry, this what do you call it? Um, Clue. Okay, I feel like I'm a detective. I love detective shows. I love Monk. I love Mentalist. I love figuring stuff out and trying to do it with them as they're doing it. I used to read, Encyclopedia Brown. I used to watch the Hardy Boys and read the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, and I loved the figuring shit out. You know what I mean? Like I would always try to figure out Encyclopedia Brown before I ever turned to the back of the book to see, how he figured it out, right? Sweet Liberty. Yes, it was a great interview with Nino. Thank you for that. Um, and and folks, yeah, you're gonna like your spinning ball until you realize it's not. And I tell you, folks, this is a big one. This is a big one. This flat Earth. You've got to spend time on this, or else you're not even flirting with being awake. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. Before I go to that, I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, we have five senses: sight. Okay, sound, ear, hearing. Right, taste, touch. Right, smell. Five senses. Right. Then other people think you got a sixth sense and stuff like that. Whatever, but the five primary. Okay, hear. Hear. How am I doing? It doesn't sound, it's late. It doesn't sound, I've been up since 5. Uh, I'm going to make every excuse I can just anything to keep from looking stupid in front of you. Okay. Is that enough for you? Okay. It doesn't sound like we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and we're hurtling around the sun at ridiculous speeds, and we're also hurtling through space with the sun. It doesn't sound like anything's going on. Okay, I'm not talking about the wind, because we get high winds sometimes, but that feels like what should be happening all the time if we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We don't hear anything. Okay, we don't feel anything. Okay. Some of us get car sick going to the store for bread. Okay. Or going on a trip with our family, we get car sick. We don't feel anything moving. Nobody can tell me, "Oh, I feel it." Bullshit. We don't feel it. The only time you feel the earth moving is in an earthquake, right? Or typhoon when you're in the water or whatever. We don't feel anything movement. We don't feel any movement whatsoever. Whatsoever. That's two. Our eyes. We don't see anything different. The only thing that we see are the stars in the firmament. Read Genesis, by the way. The stars in the firmament, and they've been in the exact same position, save for different seasons of the year. Think swastika, think Big Dipper, moving around the North Star. Different seasons, but in those seasons, the stars are always in the same exact spot, so much so that they would use them to navigate. And not only have they been in the same spot back then, but they're in the same positions now, thousands and thousands of years later. This is absolutely impossible if we are hurtling through space and spinning around the sun, and never, ever would you be able to take a time lapse photo of the North Star with concentric perfect circles going around the stars in one night. It's physically, scientifically impossible, and that's our eyes. They have now taken 3 of our major senses, hearing, sight, and feel, and they've taken them away from being a way to interact with the world. They've made us question 3 of our primary ways in which we interact with the world. Do you see how powerful that is when you're trying to control somebody? They've wanted to knock us off balance ever since we were born. They're knocking us off balance. Why do you think they changed the music from 432 to what is it? 44 or 132 to 144? I'm sorry, 132 to 144. Why do you think they changed that? It's not natural. Why do you think they pump us full of stuff when we're first born, of chemicals and neurotoxic chemicals? Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they feed us ourselves? Why do you think they weaken our food? Why do you think they put the fluoride in the water, hydrofluorosilicic acid in the water? Why do you think they do all these things? Because we are amazing, powerful beings. But what they're doing is they're taking away our ability and our desire, because the fluoride makes you passive. It lowers your IQ and makes you passive. They are literally and figuratively dumbing us down every step of the way, and we are acting surprised. But the surprise should be understanding how powerful you are, that they have to go to such extreme lengths just to control you. Look at it. Look at it. It's massive. The indoctrination is massive, and it's in every area of our being. And if some of that comes back up for you, by the way, go ahead and check your code again. Go ahead and take some more layers over there. Our eyes tell us it's flat. Absolutely. Our knowledge tells us it's flat because water flattens whatever container you put in it. It stays flat, whichever. It doesn't matter. And if I swing this around the room, all that water's flying out of there. Oh, it's gravity holding it together. You mean the gravity that if it was strong enough to hold that water on this ball that would crush every living thing underneath it? You mean that gravity? Or the gravity that Tesla would make fun of because it's a theory and that's all it ever was, and it's an invisible energy that nobody's proven? I mean, folks, If you look at the 33rd degree Masonic, you know, people that they put in place to absolutely ruin our concept and our perspective of the world. Look at I'm going to get to that one in a second. Look at Einstein. They propped him up and they let Tesla die a pauper, right? I mean, look at that. He was a joke to Tesla. He couldn't hold his lunch. You look at he said so. How's it feel to be the smartest man in the world? He said you'd have to talk to Nikola Tesla. Einstein said that. Some people believe it's his wife that had the brains, but even then, the theory of relativity theory. Okay, theory. The theory of gravity theory. Well, why does it fall down? It's called matter. If this is less matter than this, it's going to stop. If this is more matter, if this is less, this will continue to fall. It's resistance. And by the way, if you're going to build a world, best to let things drop closest to the wall closest to them instead of sideways and put somebody's eye out or upwards and we never get it again. It's just, if you're creating something, that's what you're creating. And then you've got no, Edison was one too. They propped up Edison. Edison was making, and absolutely, Edison was, but Einstein was part of it. But Edison, yeah, all of the above. Edison and Westinghouse, they were making sure that we were going to be paying for electricity the rest of our lives when Tesla wanted to give it away. Look at Freud. Look at Freud. Freud told us that we wanted to have sex with our mothers. He was a pedophile. He and his brother raped their children. His brother gave birth to Edward Bernays, who took Freud's work and created public relations. That public relations that got Rockefeller into writing checks for hospitals and universities and then controlling them and changing the whole dynamic because he saw an opportunity there. You're talking about these people that were propped up. Carl Sagan, who told you about the stars and this, the sun and the moon, and acts so like, oh, I'm so smart. He was a moron. He was a Mason. Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, that was all part of the psyop. The what's his name? Kubrick, who filmed the moon landing. This is all part of the psyop. This was all these men were brought in. And let me give you the big one. Darwin. What a crock of shit. What a crock of shit Darwin was. You came from monkeys. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? You came from monkeys. We came from monkeys. Meanwhile, monkeys are still around. We came from the primordial ooze. Better yet, we came from an explosion in space 1 billion years ago. Ask anybody who was adopted or was born because of an accident how their self-esteem is versus asking your friend who grew up with very loving parents that stayed together and loved them through thick and thin. The self-esteem, the strength of this child is the foundation is there. This child may become stronger or may certainly become of equal strength, but has to go through more and has all of that to deal with in their psyche. But it weakens people. It weakens you. And that's why they're telling us that we're an accident and that we're insignificant in the billions of stars and the ever-expanding universe. And you've got morons like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who pretends he's so fucking smart and he's a fucking shill. They use big words and we know that this moon has this, and we know this and this, and you put them on Joe Rogan, and you give them airwaves, and you allow them to get to everybody, including the people that are trying to wake up. And he wouldn't last 5 minutes with me in a debate on the shit that he's spewing. Bill Nye, the science guy, all these people were propped up to lie to you. To lie to you. Why? Because if this realm that we live in was created like we saw, what we read in ancient texts, including Genesis, about the four corners of the earth, and the firmament, and the stars are in the firmament, and the sun and the moon revolve beneath the firmament in the ether, and let us create man in our own image, and all of that in Genesis. It speaks of a static, stable realm that we live on. Nothing does it say in any of the ancient texts, does it say anything about the planets and spinning and all that. Certainly, we've got planets in the firmament, the lights in the firmament, but that's a solid structure above us. And if they know that if we found that out, then we would know for a fact that there is a God or gods, sentient beings that created all of this. Wow. The plants, the animals, the waters, the fresh, the salt, the waterfalls, the rocks, I mean, oh my God. And to reign over all of this God or gods created us. Whoa. How does that make you feel? Versus, you're here because of an explosion 1,000,000,000 years ago in the middle of a galaxy and of a vacuum, and for some reason that explosion defied all laws of physics that we've learned up until this point, and have absolutely reversed the law of entropy. I'm having this conversation with you, two sentient beings, or me and 1,280 and another 722 beings, almost 2,000 beings, are having a sentient, interactive communication. And we got here because of a mistake or an accident or an explosion. Yeah, no. The other reason they're lying to us about the spinning ball versus the flat is because we can't get off a spinning ball, so why try? Well, yeah, Musk is sending up rockets, but that's bullshit. He's trying to pierce the firmament, which I'm about to show you. That's why he's sending those rockets up. He's sending stuff up. He's sending SpaceX up, but those are fucking balloons. You've seen the string of balloons. You've seen that. You've seen the string of balloons. Folks, if you're digging what I'm dropping, please feel free to share some love, share some energy. If you think that I'm a grifter because I take tips, uh, you're lost. This isn't communism, folks. This is like, if you're finding value here, I'm giving everything away. I've given all of my shows away, always, always, always. And I did 200 shows before I'd ever dropped the link. So when I say Hey, you want to throw something in the hat and you think I'm a grifter because of it, or because, shill or whatever, move on. I honestly, you're too stupid for my audience. Okay. You want to go back into communism? Be my guest, but I keep this free because this information is absolutely imperative to get out to the public. And it's people like me that are suffering by giving it away versus the people that are charging for it, that are making huge money. So figure it out. But this is, if you're getting value, then extend value. That's the energy. That's the energy. And if you don't want to, or you can't, I'm not asking you to. Okay. I don't want your money if you don't want to, if you don't want to share with me. I don't want it. And if you can't, this is the reason why it's free. It's for you. This is not, I didn't get into this to make it harder for people to get information. I got into this because people needed to get this information. In the meantime, the powers that be have made it quite difficult for me to do this. Let me take you to this. They want to keep us from our creator. They want to keep us from a spiritual in connection with our creator. They put priests in front of it, they put prophets in front of it, they divide bishops and rabbis, and they put everything they can, they try to get put between me and the entity that did all this. Thank you. And did all this. Thank you. I want to talk to that dude directly. I don't need a fucking receptionist. That's what they're trying to keep us from. They're trying to keep us from a spiritual connection, and they've done that successfully on many, many fronts. So, and the last thing, the reason they're lying to us about this is because, and this is so key. You put a dog in a crate, what do they try to do? Try to get out. You put an animal, a wild animal, in a zoo, what do they try to do? They try to find a way out. You put a wild animal in a nature preserve where they have everything they need and plenty of acres to roam, what do? They go about their life because they don't know there's a door somewhere that leads to another part of this world. They're in their space, and there's a door, a fence, a wall somewhere that opening it leads to another space, an outer space. And that's our Antarctic wall. Because they knew, if we knew there was a door somewhere, we would go to it because we want to know what's on the other side. And they can't have that. And that's why they closed off Antarctica, so that we wouldn't go. And we're not allowed to go. So they do the same thing they did in the Truman Show. Truman Show, he couldn't get back onto the mainland because the bridge was always out. Construction. He couldn't go the waterway because they made him fear for his life because he lost his father in a boating accident. So he was terrified of the water. You see how it's the elephant, the baby elephant with the small little tiny stake that grows up not being able to move from that stake. And even when it gets big enough to rip that stake out and run wherever it wants to run, it doesn't, because the mind has been conditioned to accept It's enslavement. So let me take you to this. We are now over 2,100 beautiful humans here tonight. Thanks for coming. I was hoping I'd find some of you. Oh, and I've got to bring it over I've got to bring it over somewhere else here. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got to bring it up over on Brave. So this will also give me a little bit of break. So let me see where we're at here. Okay. Now, let me tell you when this was. This was 6 months ago. No, that's when I posted it. This was like last summer. Whenever Musk rocket had 33 engines or 33 rockets on it. It was February. No, it was before that. It was in the fall, November. All right, November, folks, is when that was. This is the date of what we're talking about here. A 33 Raptor engines on this super heavy booster started up successfully and for the first time completed a full duration burn during a ascent. Okay. Now, this was second ever test flight on November 18, 2023, igniting all 33, again, Freemason 33, Illuminati, Raptor engines in unison for liftoff. Okay. This was supposed to take place on November 18th. November 16, 2023, launch moved to November 18. Let's see. Test flight. Okay, published November 16th. SpaceX shifts the second launch of its Starship rocket to the 18th. Okay, went from November 16th to November 18th. Okay. Starship clear for November 18 launch. Okay. So let me take you back to here. And so this is, I actually called him, and I wasn't doing really my own shows. I was still without a home, and I was doing stuff mobile. But I called Dave and I said, "Listen, you got to put me on." I think this was the 15th, and I predicted it for the next day. But the next morning they moved it 2 days later. So here we go. Enjoy. We're going to get into some things that are much deeper than this right left paradigm that we're seeing with the election. But getting back to what we're being shown, I think is really, really important, because I believe that we're being given clues that a lot of people are missing. Okay. And I always felt that with Q, that we were being given clues that a lot of people were missing out on. And I continue to see that, not just with, things that take me back into the Q drops, but also things that through the Ingersoll Lockwood website, which I shared with your audience and you the other day. And
let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
I want to know about that. So the Ingersoll Lockwood website, you took us down some rabbit holes that, look, you showed us the way. I mean, honestly, you took us down some trap doors, and I was like, wow, I had no idea. But a lot of people say, oh, well, the time came and went, nothing really happened.
So let me show that. Are you seeing the Mickey Mouse watch right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So on 11/15, you and I did a show. And I was telling you, listen, dude, we got to make this happen before the 16th, right? And you made it happen, right? So I shared with your audience on 11/16/2023. This is Michael Jackson, Michael John,
Jordan. You
Michael
the
Jordan.
basketball guy forgetting his name?
I'm a basketball guy. Yeah, dude. I used to do every dunk that Jordan did. I made sure I could do. Like he'd come out with a new dunk, and I had to do it, man. And I would. But the difference is he was like, 6'6", I was 6'9", so I had a little bit of advantage. But I still couldn't take off from the free throw line like he could.
No, that's ridiculous what he did. But anyway.
That was insane. So anyway, so these are Michael Jordan's shoes. So the Ingersoll Lockwood, when this shoe first came up, was when they were trying to figure out who was going to be the next Speaker of the House. Ingersoll Lockwood had the Jordan sneaker up before that happened. And everyone thought, oh, it's Jim Jordan. It's going to be Jim Jordan.
Right.
But then when it was Michael Johnson, they put an Ingersoll Lockwood Ingersoll.
So maybe
Trump
that's what the MJ
watch.
stands for.
That's what the MJ stands for. Michael
So
Johnson.
you got it wrong. You thought it was 23, or is it all
exactly? Well, we thought it was when it was without this Mickey watch. We thought it was Jordan. Then we realized it was MJ. It was Michael Johnson. And then the Ingersoll Trump watch. I don't have that up right now, but
do you think you deciphered this wrong?
Initially, yes.
When you thought something was going to hit the firmament and we were going to flood and die.
No. That I'll get to that in a second. But I just wanted to precipitate this with the Ingersoll Lockwood predicted Michael Johnson and also showed that Trump was in control because it put the Ingersoll Trump watch, which actually existed from, I think, the 30s, in front of the Michael Johnson sneaker, Michael Jordan sneaker, right? So it told us that the white hats were in control of the situation because people were saying Trump should go in. I even mentioned that. I thought that Trump might be speaker, but that just showed that the white hats were in control of Johnson. And since he's been in, it's been gold, man. We've been getting some great stuff out of Johnson, right?
So explain the hourglass.
So let me go to that. So then when we came back to this image, this is a totally separate image than the one I was talking about. They have the 23 sneaker 11/16. This is also called the Jumpman sneaker. So is it a jump in time? We don't know, but it's 23. So we said 11/16/23 is the decode. So what's going to happen on 11/16/23? And these gentlemen I introduced you to in the last one did a great video on this. But what we showed your audience was that there's something that was going to hit possibly this hourglass, but this hourglass could represent the firmament. And
which was the same time that Elon was launching.
So here's the thing. So it was either going to come from outer space, which I don't believe in outer space because I believe that we're on a flat plane surrounded and Antarctica is holding the water and we've got a dome and a firmament above us, just like in the Bible in Genesis. It speaks of that directly. And every religious text speaks that we are static and we have a dome over top of us. So this is a black object supposedly hitting this firmament or this glass. And look at the splash, dude. Look at this splash. So, and it's black, right? And look at the splash. Now, what we didn't really get into on your last show, we had to jump off, but Musk's rocket was supposed to launch on the 16th, on this day. Okay. They postponed it 2 days. Okay. But now let me take you to this this other share here. And I'm going to show you that launch. And by the way, before this happened, okay, what's important to understand is that what was trending and what was flying around the internet was that the firmament that Musk was going to try to break through the firmament. So it's almost like, because what I've been telling my audience is that when you have predictive programming from The Simpsons and from all these movies about all these terrible events, 9/11 and things like that, that they use the predictive programming so that it's easier for the psyche to take it in, for the mind to accept it. right?
Right.
That's why they do. Two
They've seen
reasons
it
they
because
do
your
it.
mind has seen it before.
Exactly. So they do it for two reasons. One, predictive programming to get your mind prepared for what's going to happen. And two, it's the revelation of the method of what they're going to do to us, which gives them, in their satanic cult, it gives them more power to hold and laud over humanity. So what I want to say is, so before it even launched, it was already trending. The firmament was already trending on Twitter, where people were actually looking into, oh, do we really have a firmament overhead? Do we really? This was to expose that, we do have a ceiling. We found out we had a ceiling in 1958 when Sputnik hit something and couldn't go into space. And ever since, from 58 to 62, both Russia and the United States sent up nuclear weapons. Some of them they would drop in parachutes really high up. It was called, in the US, was called Operation Fishbowl, because they realized we're in a bowl here, some kind of a fishbowl, but there's a lid on it. So they were trying to break through this lid from 58 to 62. They were trying to break through. So what started trending was that this rocket that Musk uses had 33 rockets on it. 33.
Right,
really? Come on, man. It's like, it's completely Masonic. It's completely. And why do we need one that big if Musk knows, like people say, is Musk a good guy or a bad guy? I said, I tell him he's being used. He's made a deal. He's being used because he's lying to us about the electric cars saving the planet. That ain't happening. Okay. Nope. He's lying to us about how he puts satellites up. They're just balloons, man. They're not rockets. They're balloons, and you could see the string of them, how they put them up there. And he's lying to us about space and going to Mars. We're not going to Mars. There's water above the firmament, just like in Genesis. Okay, there's waters above, water below, and the.
Let me read this real quick. David Icke posted this, and I shared it. David Icke wrote, "Does anyone really think that Elon Musk runs SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, Twitter X, etc., spends 80% of his time designing, engineering, and manufacturing, while scattering in position on Twitter X every day at all hours? Who really controls these companies is a question worth asking. At the same time, he flies around meeting world leaders who's supposed to not like his platform, disinformation, yet drool over him and interview him like Sunak and promote him for propaganda like Netanyahu. Here, Musk groupie Joe Rogan buys the lie that all of the above is true, that Musk is a genius and likens him to an alien. It's not possible to do all these things and more at the same time, and he obviously doesn't. It's all part of the making of the myth that is Elon Musk. The question is why. The answer will be clear in due course."
I have the answer to that.
I think they're positioning him for some kind of run for what, Antichrist or some kind of world leader, or I mean, they're making him look like superhuman.
I have the answer to that, and I've had it for a long time, and that is that when, for example, when he bought Twitter, everyone was like, Vanguard tried to buy stock in Twitter then after he did. And people were like, oh, do you think Vanguard's trying to keep him from, buying, and the whole bit? I said, guys, look at who owns 7% of Tesla. It's Vanguard. These guys are having conversations, and Vanguard.
There you go. That's all you got to. I mean, I don't look at what sold me. This may be simple to everybody, but the Baphomet costume he was wearing on his profile picture, that said it all to me. That's who this guy represents.
Dude, that's been the case since last Halloween, a year ago. And the only thing that changed it was when he changed it to X, when he changed Twitter to X, and he put the X up there. Up until then, it was the Baphomet costume with the upside down cross. I think I shared that with you on your show. And it was and also we've seen him doing all these all-seeing eye things, all these symbolism, his the mother of his child, his mother does all the satanic symbolism. So what I believe was done, and I also proved, by the way, once, and then it was also proven twice, that the white hats were in control of Twitter. Okay. I've proven that, and because the things that I saw being done, you had to know the code. You had to be able to change the code. One of
I
them
just
was,
sometimes think, Dave, that the white hats and the black hats, sometimes I think it's the same hand controlling both, man.
hey, we've got to
the
look at that.
light and the dark. I'm
Dude,
serious.
we got to look at that as a possibility.
It has to be
without question. We've got to challenge.
They're destroying one system to bring in a new system, and they're going to represent the light. And sometimes I think to myself,
yeah,
it's like boxing, man. They own both fighters in the fight. It's
horse racing, NFL.
Why would this be any different? Why would it be any different?
And I'll tell you why. So, at any rate, I think that Musk was set up in this position because all this information flowing out of the Twitter files is the greatest information drop, third only to, it's right up there with Q drops is the greatest information drop ever in history, without question. 2 WikiLeaks, 3 Vault 7, 4 Pandora Papers, 5 maybe the Twitter files. Like, they're all right up there in the same realm that absolutely destroys WikiLeaks. Yeah. That it's all destroying this narrative that's happening. And one of the things I said, I did a show on Thanksgiving. I did it on Rumble, which I'm the indoctrination on Rumble, no space, but which you can find all the links on DavidSnedeker.com, which you'll have. But it on that Thanksgiving post, I basically said, if the black hats were in control, and let's say they're separate, if the black hats were in control, would we be seeing what we're seeing now?
No, we wouldn't. But I look at people like Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, all of them as pawns on the chess game. And I'm just asking the question.
No, absolutely.
Could there be a bigger force here at play? And people say, well, that's God and this and that. I'm like, I don't know. If you look at the Masonic floor of the checkered floor of the light and the dark that control both sides, how do we not? I'm just posing the question. How do we not know we're all just being used for this new system that's going to control us anyway?
Well, let's come back to that. Let me finish up with where we were on the last show, and I want to show what ended up happening, not on the 16th, that was foretold to us through the Ingersoll Lockwood website, but what happened on the 18th, because they had to delay the launch by 2 days. But watch this.
Make sure it has sound, Dave.
Oh yeah. Let me know if it doesn't have it. Did you hear him?
Yeah, he said, "Is that what it looked like when it exploded?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That looks like a splash, bro.
Absolutely, dude. Let me back that up, and he's gonna show it a couple times.
Users who are deceived to think that this rocket is hitting the firmament dome, but I'm about to show you the truth about what it actually is.
Now, I don't know if I believe what he's doing, but I don't know what's up there. Neither does he. But this is the splash, okay? And I just want to go.
That right there says it all to me.
They say they blew it up. They didn't blow it up, man. If there's no fire there whatsoever.
Right, but did it come back down?
Well, let me show you. Let me.
Did it go through the firmament?
It did not. It went through. I believe it went through. Now, what are you seeing right now? That picture?
Screenshot. I don't see anything. I see the picture of the hourglass.
Okay, the hourglass. Look closely at the hourglass picture. What do you see here?
Water.
It's a
wave.
Yeah, it's a splash. It's a splash right there. Okay. Exactly what we're
seeing. But if you see that black, go back to that picture.
Hold on. Where'd it go?
Holy shit, man. So you think maybe they made it through the firmament?
Possibly, because I'm going to show you something else.
Because that black object is on the other side going.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Wow, man.
So check this out. Let me find that screen for you.
A lot, man. That would say a lot.
Okay, so you see
that black object and it made it through. It made it through.
Yeah. Right. And we see the splash, don't we? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so let me show you the rest of this video, and then I'm going to come back with another one. And that
you know why this also makes sense to me? Because that one explorer that was in the submarine that went below the ocean and found another body of water at the bottom of the ocean. Did I tell you about that? The lake at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, no, I've heard about that.
So as above, so below. So
Yes.
there's levels to this shit, man.
Yeah.
There's levels to this. If it's as above, so below.
No question. And that's biblical, man.
That guy was killed in a helicopter crash 3 days later or something like that.
Right. And this is also, I mean, it's biblical. I mean, it's ancient. All the ancient texts talk about that we are on a static ground. Okay. And I'll get to why. If we have the time, I'll get into the why.
That's why water, they thought that it was the waters above the firmament that were causing that water type of hit. But they did not hit the firmament. Because God said in Proverbs 25, verse 3, the heaven for height and the earth for depth, and the heart of kings is unsearchable. So we know that the height of the heaven is actually unsearchable. Remember, in Genesis 1, God called the firmament heaven. So they cannot search the height of the heaven or of the firmament. They will never be able to reach the firmament. What he saw was a superfluid realm called the ether that they are hiding from. This realm of superfluid is also known as the blue air. And there's actually explorers who have samples of this air. When you see this blue type,
it's hard to hear, and also the background noise of the breathing. So my apologies. He's speaking of the ether. And which, by the way, many believe that that's where they were getting the energy from, and Tesla believed it as well. That's where Tesla got the electricity, from the air, from the ether.
It can be made visible by hitting it sufficiently hard to knock out a part. So we know that ether can be made visible when it's hit by something, right? Now you see the superfluid realm being hit. Now look at this moon footage. You have these little waves going across. There's another one. You know, the moon is traveling through this ether type.
I've seen those waves.
The Nicholson-Morley experiment is trying to prove that the Earth is moving through the ether realm.
By the way, there are 5 scientific experiments that prove that we are not moving.
Yeah.
5 of them. This is just one of them that tried to prove that we're moving.
Because remember, they said that the ether permeates space, makes up space. Well, guess what? Lo and behold, they did not observe the movement of the Earth through this ether realm. So what did they do? They pretty much proved that the Earth is not moving. It's stationary. It's not moving through space, or it's not moving through this ether realm.
That's incredible. Man, that's incredible.
Right?
The volume's real low, Dave.
I wish David had told me that before, because I could have.
And then the physics community started to accept that the ether does not exist. But of course, they're going to say that the ether doesn't exist because it disproves the ball Earth. But of course, 50 years later, here's more documents. The failure of the U.S. attempts to attain supremacy of the ether. So they know this ether exists. They're just not telling you. Here's another one where the U.S. tried to obtain supremacy of the ether once again. And like I say all the time, they have to put things right in your face. So, of course, they added into popular video games like Minecraft. You have the ether dimension. Here it is here. What do you see? You see that blue super liquid type fluid realm. Of course, they made it blue because they put it right in your face. Here's another game. You have the ether. That's why it's blue. That's why our sky is blue. You're looking at the ether realm, a super fluid.
But this is why it's important to read your Bible first before you start believing conspiracy theories, right? Because no one can reach the firmament. God told us they cannot measure the heavens for height. God bless you guys. I hope you can spread this information onto someone who got deceived by this. Don't forget to like and follow.
Wow.
That-
That was pretty incredible.
Right. That's a shout out to @JohnTruth, JONTRUTH on TikTok for putting that together.
Wow.
And it's so what I believe that we have seen is that the rocket hit the firmament, and there's
But it went into it, right? It went through it.
Well,
'Cause it
here's the
never came
thing.
down.
I'm going to show you something. It never came down. They said they exploded it, right? But to me, they never exploded it because we never saw fire. Okay. We never saw fire. We never saw, I did a show with my friend Hawk. Remember also that this is Ingersoll Lockwood website that had that visual of the hourglass that was shattered and that black thing that was going through it in the splash. So that's what this is all from. Just a reminder. The other night, and I'm trying to find right, I'm gonna that piece because it has that video. That part. But let me share this with you. Okay, this is my friend Hawk Marsden's Hawk's Mustard Seeds show. And let me find that spot and see if this is the one. No, that's him. I shared that. Here it is. All right.
What are we looking at?
Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys see the sky heal itself after they went through the firmament? Okay, this is what I want to show you. There's no audio.
Wow.
You see that? They're going to show it again, but we'll really
watch the SpaceX launch. This is the SpaceX launch.
This is the SpaceX launch, right? So that's the explosion I just showed you.
Right. No black smoke.
No black smoke. No yellow. Like there was a splash of water, almost like it broke through, and then it healed itself immediately. There's the explosion. Wow. And then just watch it.
Okay, so Slow Country sent me a picture the day of the.
There's there it is, right?
Yeah.
There's this almost like the cut, right? And then it just like seals itself, like it disappeared.
So the question is, where did that rocket go? Like, where is it now?
I think it's swimming. I think it's swimming. I think it just pierced through. And I mean, part of, one of the things
that's a lot of money. Are they, I mean, do they have any signal? Do they, I mean, I would like to know, like, are they in contact with it? Are they able to see?
Well, I tell you one thing, we can't see it on this side, can we?
No,
there's nothing there. Okay. And so, one of the things that you understand as a fighter, I understood playing basketball, and any sport you play, you got to learn how to fight too, is that sometimes you want to take a blow, but you want to lessen that blow, right? Yeah. It's like a tree. Like I teach when I teach basketball, by the way, which I still do. I still love working with kids, and I even do Zoom calls and stuff, because like I have them stand really rigid, and then I try to push them over. They think they're strong, and I push them over, and they just like that. They just topple over. And I tell them a tree is not strong because of its rigidity. It's strong because it sways with the wind. Right. I said, so now relax, get still in a good stance. Now relax. Now I'll push, and it'll be like this. But it won't knock them off balance. They're absorbing. and you're absorbing impact. Right? You're absorbing and moving. So
100%.
this thing, part of the strength, I believe, of the firmament is not its rigidity, possibly, but its ability to take a blow like that and seal back up. That's just a theory. This is all speculation, guys. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just
Right.
finding stuff out, and I'm trying to figure out, you know,
I
the
mean,
best way
honestly, I
can.
think you just, it makes all the sense in the world now that you've shown that video to me, to be honest with you.
Right.
He did
Right.
pierce the firmament. From what I can see, it looks like he pierced the firmament. And now where did that rocket go? It didn't come back down.
No.
There's not pieces of it everywhere. They're not even talking about that.
No.
There's no black smoke. I didn't see any fire. I saw water.
Yeah. And by the way, it's also it's only it's a black spaceship. This is the first black rocket they've ever had. They've all been white. And so now they have like 3 more black ones that are ready to go, and they'll probably try it again. But the thing about it is that why are they lying to us about flat Earth? First off, they Sorry about that. Sorry about the audio. So I get in a little bit with David, what I got into with you already tonight. So I don't need to rehash that with him. And if you missed that part of it, you can go back and check that out. But understand, folks, that that was all told to me by Ingersoll Lockwood website. Okay. Ingersoll Lockwood website has been directing us to, you know, the stuff that deworms horses, that kind of stuff, for everything that's going on, especially the big C. Ingersoll has directed us towards the debt clock. Okay, Ingersoll has directed us towards the Abraham Accords. All very timely moments in time when this has all gone down. So I welcome you to dig a little bit. Go to that website. You'll see. I don't think I have it. Here it is. Oh, so I got to take you to. I got to take it to a couple things before. So I want to take you to this. Excuse me. Oh, I can't. I got to do it over here. Sorry. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take you to this website here, and this is the Ingersoll Lockwood website. Okay. Let me clear the air here. I'm going to take you to dark mode. Okay. Dark mode is going to take us to this area where we see different things that we can click on, right? U.S. Space Force is hiring. This is a link to Space Force. By the way, it's 1717 Pennsylvania Avenue, right? 1717 QQ, Northwest 10th floor, Suite 1025, which is 17, Washington, D.C. This is a one of those suites where you can have this address and you can have somebody answer your phone and stuff like that. So I don't know how much of a presence they actually have there. But I want to take you to some of the drops that light up when you go into dark mode, or you could also highlight. I think that also works for some computers. And it just takes you to various things, like U.S. News and World Report, Kennedy, Shanahan, The Future Is Now. It's an article on that I can't read because it's in dark mode. Here we go. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presidential campaign by the numbers. Very significant, folks, that Robert F. Kennedy is running, and his father, Bobby Kennedy, was running and was in California before the Democrat National Convention and was assassinated by a Secret Service member, and was that was before the Democrat National Convention in Chicago, which it's going to be in Chicago this year, and it was also they had riots there, and so a lot of similarities, a lot of similarities. So again, these things that we're seeing have happened before, and we want to be careful that we are learning from history's mistakes, or though we will be condemned to repeat them. That was, I believe, both Seneca and also Abraham Lincoln in various forms of that quote. And so, not Snedeker, but Seneca. So, so let me take you there, and I'm going to play for you what Ingersoll has been dropping for us. Why did that go away? What's going on there? Let me go back again. Okay. All right. So here we are. And I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to take you to, oh, I know what happened. I went to one of the links. So let me go back. Let me see if it works in highlight mode. Sort of. This DJT has disappeared, and it shows up when you go highlight mode or go dark mode. So let's go to DJT first, and then just listen to the song.
Who's in the swamp now? Messy and wild. Who runs the show now? It's all so defiled. We need a hero, strong and so bold. Time to rise now, break the mold. This is our last chance. Oh, America, only Trump can save us now. Drain that swamp away from the past to now. Corruption flows. Only one can fix it. Only one man knows. From the past to now, corruption flows. Only one can fix it. Only one man knows. Stand tall. There's a call to drain it all. Save us all. This is our last chance. Oh, America, only Trump can save us now. Drain that swamp away. From the past to now, corruption flows. Only one can fix it. Only one man knows. Stand tall. There's a call to drain it all. Save us all. This is our last chance. Oh, America, only Trump can save us now. Drain that swamp away. Stand tall, there's a call to drain it all. Save us all. This is our last chance. Oh, America, only Trump can save us now. Drain that swamp away.
So that was the that DJT link, and you can hear the lyrics in the swamp and stuff like that. So these are all. This isn't really. I'm not really doing a lot of decodes, but these songs, I will tell you, have mentioned Junior quite a bit. And is it Don Jr. or is it RFK Jr. or is it John F. Kennedy Jr., who many of us think may still be alive because and very much a part of Q. I don't get really deep into that because I don't want that to be a deterrent for somebody who thinks that that's absurd. But I would ask you about this following absurdity. Who's playing Joe Biden? Because we know it's not him. We know it's not the same guy. We know it's not the same face, the same ears, the same signature. It's not the same head. It's not the same guy. So who's playing him, and how could they have propped up this deep state player, this leader of the free world, and lie to us about it? They will go to any extent, either white hats or black hats, to make us aware of these things that are happening. And so it's important for us to understand that part of the reason they've been able to get away with the things they've gotten away with is because excuse me, it's because they hide it in plain sight. Folks, they collapsed 2 buildings of the most iconic buildings on the planet, the World Trade Center towers. They collapsed them and told you it was because of the fires from the planes. They killed, God, just under 3,000 people. But JFK Jr. still can't be alive. Well, I'm just saying there's a lot more absurd things happening than that. So let's not get hung up on that, but just, that's the way I think. And I just wanted to share that with you. Here's another one. Oh, so here's the image. Okay. This is great. Okay. So I haven't seen this yet. This was sent to me. My buddy Max always gives me a heads up whenever there's a new IL. We can see this rabbit now, like the images that I shared with you that I showed David Rodriguez, and was able to make those predictions off of those things. Please keep that in mind. Like, this isn't just some picture they threw together. Most of these pictures, they have a meaning to them, and they're trying to communicate something to us. Now, here's what we're seeing. We're seeing, let's see. Okay. So a couple things. Let me start from the top down. Okay. So let me go up to the, you're not seeing it, but I will show you. Let me see if I take that down, if that'll show. Okay. So what you're not seeing is the address bar. It says 7, then 4, like in the month, right? And then 4918-1 JPEG. Okay. So 4918, it's 7 and then 2024. So, and if you look in your address bar, I'm going to give you the address bar in the chat here. I'm going to drop it so you can click it yourself and see where we're at, and also you'd be able to see the address bar. I don't like, saying, I'll take my word for it, right? You got to question everything, challenge everything. Let me put it over in the Rumble chat as well. Thank you all for being here. I'm sorry I'm missing your chats. Sometimes I'll engage a lot more than I am tonight, but I kind of had just to focus tonight. And by the way, look at Hawk's Mustard Seeds and the indoctrination for those two links. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that Q drop of that particular 4918. Okay. And then I'll take you to that 4918 just to see if there's some significance to that. There may not be, by the way. And we might turn around. Okay. 4918. Okay. Wow. All right. Holy cow. See, guys, I'm doing this live with you. Like, I have not done this yet. So you're seeing me do this for the first time. This is how I do this. And so you're seeing me kind of discover it. It's kind of like Dave Reacts video, right? To the new Ingersoll Lockwood dive. So here we go. So this takes me to drop, let's see, 4918 here. Okay. Now let me get back to here. Let me do this. I think I can do this different way. No, that's not good. Let me do that. And then I'm my own producer here, folks. So I want to just make sure you can see that well. Okay, so 4918, this was October 21st, 2020. Okay. 6:43:55 p.m. All right, now the swamp runs deep. Sleepers everywhere. Think coats, wheels in motion. This was a tweet that they link us to. Paul Sperry status. Most of these are no longer, but it's, the Q telling us the swamp runs deep. Sleepers everywhere. Think coats, wheels in motion. We just heard a song talking about the swamp, that Trump must drain the swamp. Okay. Also, 3537 is in this drop. Ray is a sleeper. Who was in front of Congress today? Christopher Wray, the FBI. Ray is a sleeper, meaning double agent, meaning that we thought he was been a bad guy for all this time, and now finally maybe he's going to come out and break things wide open. Future marker. Okay. These are JPEGs, by the way, of previous drops that Q, gave us. Okay. And so this is all. Oh, by the way, that when I click on that, it takes us to this. It just takes us to a close-up shot of that. Okay. So there you have it. This is 2020. This was 4 years ago. Okay. The swamp runs deep. Sleepers everywhere. Think coats. Ray is in the news. Okay. Ray is in front of Congress. Okay. This is not an accident, my friends. Okay. This is not an accident. This comes directly from this drop. Okay. Now, and Ray was in Congress. What is this? This is basically, it doesn't look like it because I think it's kind of an AI rendering, but this is supposed to be the Capitol. That's what's in that position. There's nothing else in the mall. This is the Lincoln. Is this Lincoln? No. This is kind of a rendering. This might be Jefferson. No, what poll is this? Because if the Lincoln Monument is here, yeah, this is the Lincoln Monument, right? But the Washington Monument's out of place. Okay. DC. Let's go. If we're looking at let's see, the National Mall. let me see. The Lincoln Memorial, White House, Washington Monument is 3. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay. The White House. Let's see. Where's the Washington Monument, the White House, Lincoln Memorial, Congress? Why don't they have Congress? Yeah, that's accurate. Okay, because one is Lincoln Memorial, then the pond. I'm sorry. This is what I'm looking at now. One is the Lincoln Memorial. Then here's the pond. Then 3 is the monument. Okay, and then 4 should be somewhere up in here is Congress. Okay, looking towards Congress, right? And this is the National Mall, so Congress is somewhere right around here. Okay, and then the White House is right here. All right, so so going back to this picture on Ingersoll, okay, this is an accurate depiction space-wise of where everything is. So that would be the Congress, but kind of a weird looking building for it. Now, the other thing is, I don't know what these are up here. I don't know if they're like flowers, petals, or what they are. But I welcome your interpretation of these. If you go in close on them, I'm not quite sure what they are. And then, but maybe something to do with a sky event. Of course, the bunny, which is a common theme, just like it is in the thumbnail that I used tonight for this show. So the rabbit is often used. Now, the rabbit is obviously dressed up like an Uncle Sam or very patriotically in American garb, and is holding this figure with a star on top. And again, I haven't really spent a lot of time on this decode, so we can kind of do this together. And these stars don't really look like stars. They look like more of what came out of the sky a little bit, right? Let's see if there's anything with the buttons. The buttons are a little off. Okay, got the claws there. Okay, so that's the bunny. Now let's look at the clock. The clock is almost always, folks, almost always a factor here. So this reads, this is the small hand. This is the big hand, I believe. No, could be the small hand. So this is either 10-10 with the second hand down here. I think it is 10-10. Okay, which is, we've often gone to the Q drops and saw the I'm sorry, the Mickey Mouse clock, okay, which is 4730, which was September 16th, 2020, and we see the same hands, pretty much, not the same hands, but the same position, okay. Media keywords, Mickey Mouse clock, 1009, 1010, 1009, 08. 08 is because the red is filled up with this. Okay. And so, maybe, this was predicted back then. This was given to us. So what does it mean now? And so that's something that we should, keep track of. So it looks to be about the same. But again, looks like AI, they did AI for some of this. So some of it may just be the overall, picture of things, and not anything specific. But there's something about this that we should probably look into. That does look gold, by the way. Okay. And we are looking to go to a gold back, situation here. Okay. And so, at any rate, folks, I'm going to the comments because I want to see your thoughts on this. Okay. Slow Country, good to see you, brother. Also this evening, Dave, the Stars and Stripes were raised by some of the congressional folks at Union Station looking at the rabbit and the raised staff. It makes sense. Okay, interesting. Union Station is very close to Congress. I've used that and been there many times. Okay. Marta says, I watched Ray last night here in Australia. Golly, he is one smooth operator, ducking and weaving. Thank you, Marta. I haven't seen him yet. Let's see. Q, Rays of Light. Many double meanings. Very well could be. Let's see. Yeah, Coates was an FBI agent. I think Ray is playing both sides. T. Johnson, yeah. And I think also that what is it? D before C, Q is said, which is some believe is Coates before D class. That Coates has got to go down. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Zoom in on the tie left side, Rick says. Okay. Let me do that. Hey, Rick. Thanks, man. Okay. All right. You guys see that? Yeah. Yeah, it looks a little odd. Do you notice anything out of that? Again, the stars are kind of splashed on. It's not really kind of an odd thing. Another gold, like little bell or something there. Let me know if you guys see something there. Hi, Ernest. So when will all this culminate for the better? Any thoughts? Well, by the way, that was replacing the Palestinian flag that was raised earlier. Interesting. Oh yeah, the marks in the sky look like water splashes or smashed glass going through the firmament again. Yeah, good call. Yeah, exactly what I kind of basically what I was just showing, right? Cracks in the firmament or splashes. Absolutely. So what I wanted to say to answer Ernest is that we're obviously things are happening, right? Nobody can look at things and say, wow, nothing's happening, right? So the good news is that this news cycle, it's like Hawk and I were talking last night, and it's like instead of getting something every 24 or 48 hours, we're getting something like every 12 hours, like major stuff, like people dying and people resigning. And, of course, the Secret Service head, resigned. And so this is it's all happening. It's all coming out. And here's the other thing. Things aren't just happening here, folks. It's like things are happening, but they're telling us they're happening. They're telling us why they're happening. And they're sometimes telling us before they're happening. And that's why I wanted to show you the predictions from both Q and Ingersoll tonight. There's many predictions of Q. Like it's too much to get into. Q is the one that told us that Peter Strzok, Q said, who interviewed Hillary Clinton for that thing? Who interviewed Anthony Weiner? Who interviewed Hum Abedin? Who interviewed, and all these different areas of concern of interviews with the FBI. It was all Peter Strzok, as if they only had one guy at the FBI who could interview across multiple different areas, right? So this is very much just, I feel that things are happening because this is the way they need to happen for us to move forward. Okay. Now, does that stop me from, you know, doing what I've been called to do in this revolution, which is come to you on this crazy hour of this crazy day? Um, that's what I'm doing. I'm not, you know, picking up my gun and marching anywhere, you know, not yet anyway. You know, if we get there, we get there. I'm ready. But I think we're going to solve this through transparency. And then when the military does step in, which I'm going to give you my theory on that right now. And this is just a theory, folks. Again, don't let my previous predictions um, allow you to hand your mind over to me and not think for yourself. This is a common occurrence because we get lazy and we just like, oh, just tell me. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to figure it out. I get that. But please challenge everything I'm saying here. This is not fact. This is speculation at this point. But I have been saying for a while, they're going to get rid of Biden. Okay, which they've done. But I also said he's going to go bye-bye for, you know, permanent. And I thought that was happening this week because he disappeared for 6 days. And quite honestly, I think it probably did. The medical emergencies in Nevada, the medical emergencies that, you know, that we're hearing about with the doctor, the medication he's on, the COVID as a code word for, you know, for what's going on. You know, getting him out of the race, opening up some of those channels that would be closed off if he was still alive, meaning, you know, electoral votes. So, and I think they're going to use him as a martyr, and I think they're going to edify him. And this is what Joe would want, like move forward. Meanwhile, after they threw him under the bus, of course he's going to die. They're throwing him under the bus, right? He can't take that kind of abuse. So he was forced out. We were lied to about his mental capacity. He was forced out, and now Kamala has been forced in. Now, once Joe dies, I believe Kamala lasts 1 week, if that. If Joe dies, doesn't die, she's still not going to last very long. That's this is my speculation, prediction. Because she's not eligible to be president, and we have enough people awake that are going to bring that into the public light. I'm already doing it. Other people are doing it. We're going to do it. This is what we're supposed to do. The transparency thing. Okay. Q said military is the only way once. Transparency, accountability, justice is the only way 20 times. That's our job. We're not the military that's going to rush in. Even our veterans and beautiful people that are in the audience that served. Thank you. But our job is the transparency, the accountability part, and the justice part. And we got to make sure we get all that done. And that is what our job is. And so if we can do that, then when the military does step in, people are going to be ready. People are going to be ready. And so this is so very important. And so as people awaken and start to really push Kamala out into the open, hey, look at who she really is, you know, arresting David DeLayden, who exposed and his partner who exposed Planned Parenthood in California selling baby parts. So who does she arrest? David DeLayden. Who's California going after? David DeLayden. Are they going after Planned Parenthood? No. She's the first vice president to go to a Planned Parenthood site. Are they going after the people that actually illegally sold baby parts? No. And that was when Kamala was AG. She kept black men in prison. She's a horrible human being, and she's dumb as a box of rocks. And so that's all going to come to the surface. She's not going to last, and we're not going to let her be president, or she'll be taken out. And then Johnson comes in, and is before he leaves Congress, gets Congress to, get the military involved, and then becomes the sitting president. Maybe brings Trump in as VP, or and then steps aside, or just reinstalls once the military comes in. Then they bring forward the real evidence of the stolen election, and then Trump gets his seat back. But under the Republic, we shift everything. So that's what I'm thinking. But when the military comes in, Trump cannot be the president. Trump cannot be the vice president. They need to bring the military, and the military needs to do their things, because Q has said that POTUS is insulated and must be insulated, and must not have any interaction during these takedowns. I'm forgetting what that drop is. I'm tired right now. I'm not going to bore you with it. But that's basically what Q has said. Okay. And then they make all that happen and bring Trump back in. Now, a lot of people don't like Trump. People say, oh, he pushed warp speed. Well, I walked you all through that in real time. As you know, I walked us through CV before, during, and after. And I walked you through it. And every time he talked about the jab, he talked about the alternatives. Nobody would ever do that. Nobody else was doing that. CNN, ABC, and MSNBC. Nobody was talking about the real alternatives to the jab. As a matter of fact, they were making fun of him for doing so, making fun of, because it's a horse dewormer and all that. Even meanwhile, it's a human drug, and they were making fun of all that, and they were avoiding bringing that out into the open, because they're owned and controlled by the same people that own and control them. The pharmaceutical companies, and 70% of their advertising revenues from the pharmaceutical companies. So on a very surface level, they would have to do what they're told. On a higher level, they're all the same people. This is their control mechanism. This is the indoctrination. This is the matrix that has a hold of our mind. And so that's what they do. And so now, people don't like that he created this jab, but 70% of the population needed it, and he gave options out of it, and he also said it shouldn't be mandatory, and they made it mandatory. That's when you don't have a choice. He brought something that gave people choice. Now, is he doubling down on it? Yes. Does that disturb me and bother me? Yes. But I also believe that, like they're saving Israel for last, part of that is Paharma, because they have to save that for last because it's too big. Okay. And so I think this is all going to go down when he comes back in. But a lot of people think he's in with all of them. Well, for those people, I will tell you this. One thing I've noticed about all of the people that are not just, maybe they don't believe in Q. They don't believe in the white hats. They don't believe that, they believe that Obama's in charge and everything like that. And they think Trump's just another head of another snake. He's not Republican. The only reason he ran Republican is because he would get money support as a Republican versus independent. He wouldn't have gotten a dime. Okay. So he ran Republican, but he's not Republican. We've seen the difference between the two. We've seen the difference between the rhinos and MAGA. Okay. This is a whole new thing. This is MAGA. This is America first. And so, but here's the thing. People think Trump's going to let us down, and I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. When I decided I was going to vote for Donald Trump, and people were challenging me on that, I said, let me tell you why. First of all, I see who's against him, and I'm against the people that are against him. The Clintons are against him. The Bushes are against him. Carter's against him. Obama's against him. Hillary's against him. The Clintons, the media, Hollywood, the music industry. pundits, late night talk show hosts, daytime talk show hosts. I had come to a place where all these people were facades. They were Satanists, all taken the picture, all taken the oath, all sold their souls to get where they are. I knew who they were. So when they were against him, I was for him. And here's the other thing. I said to a friend of mine, I said, listen, he puts his name on everything. Trump Casino, Trump Hotel, Trump Tower, Trump Cola, Trump, all these different businesses that he tried. Some failed, but he tried a lot. He puts his name on everything. His name is very, very valuable to him, not only to him, but his daughter, his daughters, his sons, and there's great pride there. If Trump doesn't do what he says he's going to do, and I'm talking about as just on the surface stuff of running for office, running for president. If he doesn't do what he's saying he's going to do, the Trump name will be mud. And it will be the level Trump hotels are going to be at the level of a Motel 6 because he betrayed the trust of humanity. He's not going to do that because if he does, okay. Wait a minute. Let me pull this up. Here it is. Q said a few times, what happens when people learn the truth? What happens when people wake up? They will not be able to walk down the street. The Great Awakening. Okay? And what I'm going to tell you here, there will come a time when none of them will be able to walk down the street. Biggest fear, public awakening. This is what is happening with the deep state. This is why they're trying so hard. They're fighting so hard to cling on to the power that they no longer have over us. And if Trump does not follow through on the Q promise and all the things that we've talked about and all the comms and all this, he'll be the one that won't be able to walk down the street. He doesn't want that. He loves people. He loves the limelight. He's going to be the biggest hero in the history of our country. Why would he piss that away? Because he's partial to Israel. He's been critical of them. He's been critical of Netanyahu. But he's playing the game, I believe, because Q said we're saving Israel for last. Good reason why not mentioned on Posts Online. Folks, I'm telling you, everything you're seeing, okay? Drops will go fast. White House clean. Marker. Everything is planned. Years. Message. Unity. Awakening. We fight. Lexington Concord. Stay together. Let me explain something to you. I was just looking at this. I can't believe this popped up. 3853. February 10th, 2020, folks. Where we go one, we go all. Drops will go fast. We're getting comms at a speed I've never seen before. Dan Scavino's tweets, his timestamps, and the words he accentuates, Trump truths, and the timestamps that he puts down, and the things he says, and the capitalization of the words They're all comms, folks. This Ingersoll Lockwood, this picture, they're comms. This, folks, look at this. Drops will go fast. White House clean. Signature, maybe? SIG? SIG. I forget what that means as well, but there's also many double meanings. White House clean. Where's Joe? Okay. And why did he bring a motorcade to the White House rather than Marine One coming back from Maryland, especially being as sick as he is? Helicopter Marine One is a hell of a lot more comfortable than driving from Andrews Air Force Base. White House clean SIG. What about his signature? What's different from his signature? And it's underlined. Where we go one, we go all. Look at the underline. Marker. Everything is planned. Years. They're saying it took years to plan this. The message, unity. What did you hear Donald Trump say about what's he been saying about unity? Okay, bring it. He got J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance was a never Trumper. He forgave and brought him on board. Nikki Haley brought into the RNC. You think she would have been at the RNC without his say so? But he brought her in for unity. That's what he's been talking about. Awakening. We fight. Lexington. Concord. Do you know what that means? That was being bandied about today. Why? Because Kamala Harris wants to take away your Second Amendment right. Yes, she does. Okay. The revolutionaries stored their ammunition and their weapons at Lexington and Concord. The Paul Revere ride was the British are coming, and they were coming to take their weapons because they knew where their weapons were. And that was a shot heard around the world because they did not give up those weapons. The shot heard around the world. Stay together. Q. Follow Bolton. Clean. Stage. Learn how to archive offline. The streets will not be safe for them. What happened following Bolton's departure from the White House? Question mark. White House clean. What happened following impeachment? Nadler, Pelosi, Schiff cannot walk down the street. Imagine that. Could we imagine that back in 2020? Not really. They seem to be in charge. Q was telling us this back then. But now, look at how many people were making fun of Nadler in his talking about the gun control in J6 at the what do you call it, at the hearing, at the Secret Service hearing, right? Pelosi's, she's a joke. Her husband, people are yelling at her out on public. Schiff, he's tied in with Joe Buck and all this nonsense with the Standard Hotel, and he's a traitor. All these people are traitors. They're either they've already been tried for treason in a military tribunal and are dead, and we're watching their doubles or masked up people, or they're going to go down. They cannot walk down the street. Imagine that. Q was telling us to imagine that back then, and now it's much easier to imagine. Wow. Why are the children in Haiti in high demand? How are they smuggled out? Adoption process. Local staging ports friendly to Clinton Foundation. Track donations. Cross against location relative to Haiti. Think logically. The choice to know will be yours. This is a LARP. This is somebody that is playing in their basement because it's a joke. Or this is our government to try to make us passive. Does it look like I'm fucking passive? I've done 1,150 some shows, over 5,000, closer to 6,000 hours of content. I have inspired people to do things for themselves. I've inspired people to get involved locally, to run for office. This is what I was called to do. What are you called to do? Some of you are called to just support people like me. That's fine. That works. Because you know what? It ain't easy being me. It ain't easy doing this. It ain't easy trying to get the word out, and you're absolutely terminated off every single platform you've tried to get the word out on. The only platform I have not been taken off of is Rumble. And I think they're messing with my numbers. And they've messed with a couple of my videos. And they're owned by Peter Thiel, which is of concern because he owns Palantir, and he's a Trump supporter, but he's also the one that owns Ambrosia and tied in with JD Vance, and so there's some concern there. But I want to hope that he's a good guy, and but it's kind of concerning when you consider all the information that he's gathering with Palantir and some of these other organizations, especially when it comes to DNA, because Q told us the last post before Q left was protect your DNA. Okay. The choice to know, the choice to know will be yours. There are right now, let's see, 2,400 people that that want to know. So hats off to you. Who are we taught to trust the most? This will not be easy. The end. It won't be easy because the people we've trusted the most, like I was saying earlier tonight, going through the awakening and thinking about the people that lied to us. Man, oh man, folks. I don't know about you, but I feel this moment in time that we are sharing together right now is very significant. And I'm talking about this show right now, and some of the things I'm talking about and the way I'm talking about them, I think is important for people to know. And if you agree with me, share this out, please, to others. And if you don't. I'm not begging numbers. I don't care. I don't schedule my shows. People don't know when I'm coming live. If you're not paying attention to my X or my Rumble, even my X, the X you can find out sooner, you may not catch me live. And here we are at 2 a.m. and we've got a couple thousand people, and that's pretty beautiful. And by tomorrow this time, it'll probably be 20,000. And I wish I was reaching more than that, but if there was just one of you, I'd be here. So reread the drops regarding Haiti. Okay, look at what happened with Lee last week. Jackson Lee, she was taken out, I believe. She was tied in with Haiti. She was tied in heavily with the Clintons. Look what's going on, folks. At some point, it will not be safe for them to walk down the street. Pure evil. How many in Washington and those around the world in power worship the devil? Conspiracy, fake news, the world is watching. My friends, there's no way Trump turns on us. No way. And if he does, it's too late anyway. We're already awake. That's why Q said transparency, accountability. That's the real way. That's the real way, folks. Look at the transparency brings about accountability. The storm was, you didn't think the statement by POTUS regarding calm before the storm was just random, did you? Transparency brings accountability. Equal justice under the law as written. Transparency, disclosure, and accountability. Justice is the only way forward. Future of our republic at stake. Watergate times 1,000. Look at this clown. It takes transparency, transparency, transparency. This is what we're talking about. And when you have all of us that are seeing transparency and creating transparency with each other, that nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing can stop what is coming. Folks, X is the place to be right now. At DaveSnedeker is my X account. If you're not following me, please do, and hit this bell notification. It's not up here because I'm doing myself. Okay. But folks, this is my pinned tweet that takes us back to, all the things that you learned with me. Who introduced and taught you to Q? Going back. Who warned you about Event 201, fall of 2019, as it was happening? This is like my resume, folks, because this is what I've done for a very, very long time. Okay. And it's, just that is, I'm sorry, I was supposed to be sharing this with you, and I don't think I was. This is what I was talking about. I'm sorry I didn't show you this. This is to all the people in the front, OG Snedheads. But this is, and get into this. See what I dropped. There's some powerful stuff happening on X right now, folks. By the way, Jay Hens, his watch wasn't on the right time during his live speech. The internet is undefeated. So supposedly it was 8:10. So here we have another watch. It looks like, I'm sorry, no, that doesn't look right at all. That's not what I'm reading. Let's see. That would be 6:07 to 6:08 is what I'm seeing. 6:08. This guy is way off, I think. And how do you get a tan, by the way? How do you get a freaking tan? What's that all about? So, so let me go to the drops. What did I say? 6:08? What the hell is that? Who is that? Gavin Newsom?
For this to happen, he's flat-footed. This JD Vance guy, this guy's dangerous, man. This guy's a bad dude. I don't like him. I think if you're Donald Trump, you're stewing right now because you made a big mistake. All of a sudden, Donald Trump is on the defense. In politics, man, anything can happen and happens fast. And so now this thing is a sprint. It's a lightning bolt. It's changed. I pity Donald Trump right now. He was not prepared for this to happen. He's flat-footed. This JD.
What the hell is he talking about? Kamala? Like he gives a shit about her? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to pull the plug on this here shortly, but let me go to what I thought that was, which is about 6:08 for me. And that's 6:08. That's we go 06. No, I'm sorry. 6:08, and also that would be 12:08 military. 12, so 18:08. 18:08. I think I've been here recently. 18:08 has all of the reporters and networks that have been named in the WikiLeaks to have colluded with the DNC or Hillary Clinton during the 2016 election cycle. Look at all these people. Look at this as kind of like a clock that we were watch face possibly. And then 608 is POTUS statement and focus tweet on the UK should scare a lot of people. It signifies something very important, very, very, very important. MI6 played ball. They did the spying for us on citizens at our direction, as they always do. They ratted out their deep state masters, plus more, a lot more. I don't know what significance this has with this particular this particular timestamp. Not always. You're not always going to get a time, a significant timestamp out of things, but this, I think I'm missing something. It might be the watch. I doubt if. Are you still with me, Slow? Slow Country. Didn't you say you sent me something? Didn't you? Maybe in Signal, you sent it to me. Because I think he did a little bit of this this dive. I'm going to come to the comments, folks. If you, hey, Slow, what's that timestamp? Do you think? What's the timestamp on his watch? I think. Oh, by the way, I think I saw earlier. Let me check, double check here. Thank you for your donations, Lynn Martin, Sarah Cheeseman, and Dina Gilder. Happy birthday, Dina. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dina. Happy birthday to you. And thank you for all your support. And thank you for your beautiful smile and your beautiful presence in this chat. And God bless you for this coming year. And may the wind be at your back in this storm. 810. Is that what you got? 810? And was it significant? And where did you send that to me? Did you send that to me in X? Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let me go to 810, see what's there. That did not look like 810 to me, but I tell you what, if there's a watch on there, it's got to be closer to this than what I showed you. It can't be that big of a dud. So I must have been looking at it wrong. Clowns revealed in China, other 210, 187. 187 is assassination. Sold Intel, ? HRC open source server, ? Missing emails. CrowdStrike, which is huge in the news right now. CrowdStrike was the ones with the DNC server that the DNC didn't allow FBI to look at, but they brought CrowdStrike in, which was a vendor, and they paid them a lot of money. Granted access, betrayed, only the tip. This will be made public soon. The trader sold SAPs. That's standard. Not standard. SAPs is the company is SAP. The software as product or software as something, I forget. How do you break up something this big? What happens if low, mid, senior, non-corrupt patriots learn they were sold out? What happens? Who is waiting with open arms with a plan to reorganize under a single entity with direct oversight by trusted patriots? ? Who are trusted patriots who understand intel collection? Wow. Well, the Marines, the military intelligence, the NSA, and they're all on our side. 810. Okay, that was huge, brother. Thank you for that. I buy that. I'll heck of a lot more. And by the way, I was already at open source when I was at the they won't be able to walk down the streets as well. 810 is also 2010 military, which is August 30th, 2018. Snow White 3 now offline. Snow White 4 now offline. the Snow White, these are both these are supercomputers, and they were connected to satellites, and they were controlled by the CIA. And Musk was just talking about his Starlink today, and how you can be on an airplane and get really fast download speeds. And Starlink has replaced. They have used Starlink to replace the CIA satellites and the supercomputers. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Slow. I did a short dive on the dive and sent you the link for it. Yeah, I was asking where, because I didn't know where to look. Is it in Signal or is it in? But I'm not gonna. I think it's in Signal. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what else also came up is 807, 4807. Time for a change. Let's see what happens. Okay. And that was Ron Johnson, but they're talking about the FBI, but also I think in that particular drop they're probably talking about Biden and Kamala. Yeah, so this isn't my dive, so I won't. Boom week ahead. Treason doesn't pay well in the end. I saw that earlier today as well. Yeah, just there's some good stuff, I'm sure here, but I'm not going to go into a dive because that literally could add a couple hours onto this, folks. And I don't want to be completely shot for tomorrow. And YouTube, don't take this channel down, please. Yes, and that would be bad for Hawk. And thank you, Hawk, for sharing your channel. Okay, got it. So. So my friends, thank you, Dave. You sang right at midnight. Perfect timing. Best birthday gift. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. And thank you for all your support. My friends, this was, I was going to come on for a quick, let me show you some Q proofs. And I got into some psychological, philosophical stuff revolving around this great awakening. And so I thank you for joining me on this. And it's 3 hours and 46 minutes long. We are ending with 1597, which is, call it 1600, over on X, YouTube, and Facebook. And then, of course, another 722 over on Rumble, The Indoctrination. I'll show you that there. And thank you, folks, for those of you who did the only, I think one of you did the Rumble rant. By clicking this down here and doing a donation up here. And then you could put a rant in, and then it'll stay at the top here where others can see it that are just coming on. They'll see what you have to say. And it sticks for 1 hour. And you can get that set up. And folks, this also, just want you to know that this also supports Rumble when you do that, because it's very important that we support the organizations that are allowing people like me to speak to you like the way I'm doing it right now. Because Facebook, I've been kicked out of many times. YouTube, same thing. And so, please just understand that things are not going to change until we stop funding our own demise, and we turn our tip your waiter. We had a party, you wouldn't show up at a party and not bring a bottle of something, or bring flowers, or bring a gift. Make it $1, make it $2, whatever it is, makes very little difference to you, makes a huge difference to me. I thank you for being here tonight. I think we got a lot out of it. If this spoke to you, please share this out. We're up over 1601 on all the platforms. My friends, wow, what a time to be alive. What a time to finally feel like, this long journey that many of us have been on. My God, thank you for for going through this with me and with all of us. And thank you to Karen Billick, Edward Quinn, and Louis Vargas, and Richard Minnick, and Kathleen Flaherty. Those were from yesterday or 2 days ago, but just wanted to thank you again. Thank you to Walter Newbart as well. And folks, yes, if you would, like to be a patron of the work I do, please find your way to doing so. And I welcome that. So much love to you all. Be well. Take care of you. Make sure you're taking care of you. And I'm just so glad that we are sharing this journey together at this very, very auspicious time in human history. All right. Be well. Good night. Much love.